Are you there, Mahesh? So I think Mahesh is good. So we'll wait for Sadiq to join us.
Yeah, Deepak, I'm there. Deepak, I'm there. Am I audible?
Okay. Mahesh, good to see you.
Yeah.
I think all of us are there. Fantastic. Yeah. So, Priyanka, if you could check if SP joined us.
He'll be joining in 2 minutes.
Mahesh. Yeah. So we still get to start. We were just thinking to postpone this, but we have over I think 150 people joined us for the event, and we also go live on YouTube. So we'll continue with this session because I think a lot of people want to really hear you guys. So we'll just wait for Salish Puranik to join us, and we can get this done. Yeah?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I think we have Salish Puranik join. So we'll kind of not waste any time and make a quick start. Sir, are you there? Just to reconfirm.
Hi.
Hi. Good afternoon, sir.
Hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
So, eventually, we are getting to start. We all know how technology can be, backed into a lot of other plans, but nevertheless, we get to start on our first ever Analytics Today, episode that we're going to be broadcasting. And I'm really happy to have you here with us. Before we start, let me quickly introduce myself. So my name is Deepak Singh. I'm the business head for distribution at Puranex. And this is my second month of the second innings. Okay, if that's the right way to put it. And on a busy Friday, all of us have been.
Deepak?
Yes, sir.
Your voice is cracking a bit. If you can use a mic or a headphone or something like that.
I think there is another device, you just nearby with Mr. Deepak. So that's why the voice is classes. So there is another device logging with the same things.
Yeah. Let me see if I can.
Yeah.
Yes. Give me a moment. Okay, so is this better now since we've been able to switch off a lot of other devices?
Yeah, better. Now better.
Better.
Yeah.
So quickly, I would like to begin by acknowledging all our panelists who have been able to join us this Friday. In fact, a very busy Friday, and especially our managing director, Mr. Salish Puranik, who has been kind enough to grace this occasion and actually converse with us on what exactly we want to speak to the audience, and which is about Pune, the present and the future outlook. So this day, actually, it is a special one for more than one reason. We are broadcasting a first ever episode, which is based on Analytics Today. Now, what we intend to do here is basically try and reach out to our audience through the medium, which we have created, which is mostly the channel space. We've seen that a lot of people who have been able to get a platform are people who are not on the ground. For the first time, we try to make a platform which is best suited for the people who are very well connected on the ground. Hence, this becomes very, very important for us. The other important reason is that we have achievers. So whether it is any one of us who are part of this webinar, we all have been been able to achieve something in life. People who have been able to move up the ladder from the ground level. Hence, it is very important and important day for us. So quickly, let me introduce all our panelists going ahead. So we have Mr. Salish Puranik, Managing Director Puranex. Okay, so I think he does not need any introduction. We also have Vaibhav Jakhar from Clear Space. So Vaibhav is being working with us very, very closely. We have Jay Singh. Okay, so Jay Singh is the business head for Bajaj Housing Finance. And it will be very important to hear his views, especially what is happening in the market, what's happened pre-COVID and post-COVID. So it is important to hear his point as well. Mahesh is a good friend and someone who's been a fitness enthusiast alongside being doing really good in the real estate business. So we would also like to hear Mahesh's view. I think he's been a very prominent player in the market. We also have Lalit. Okay, so Lalit Kumar Jain from Pan India Properties. He's somebody who's been there in the thick and thin of real estate for the last 5 years in the Pune market. And last but not the least, we have Rahul Roy and Rahul Kola from Property Junction. Both of you, so it's good to see you guys. And I think we have a star-studded panelists, and we can take this now to the people who are going to be watching us. So before we start, I remember I finished my MBA actually in Pune, and I felt sad when I had to move to Bombay. And I always felt that there was a magnetic effect to this, overall space. And more than just the investment destination that Pune has become now, I feel there is much more that Pune has to offer. And hence we thought that we'll try and take your views that matter most, because you are the ones who are taking the opportunity to your customers. So how can we actually educate? How can we inform our people on what are the kinds of opportunities that we have? But before we start, SP sir, there has been a question from a lot of panelists and a lot of people who are watching us, and the question is, how do you really keep yourself so fit, and what have you really done, so much that it's that you seem to be absolutely fit even post COVID. So before we get into the main core topic, could you sir please spare 2 minutes for us?
No, I think these are things we should hear from persons like Mahesh and all. He seems to be fitter amongst all of us, and I think it's more of a state of a mind. If you want to be fit, you get fit, and then whatever is required to be done. With so much of knowledge now available, not only from WhatsApp University but YouTube also, that it is very easy nowadays to know what is the latest diet, whether you need to do keto or whether you need to do intermittent fasting, whether you need to do only walking or running or high intensity interval training. I think everything is available online. You all will know about it. So I think it's a state of mind, and when you want to be fit, then you can be fit without going to anyone today. And I think that's what we all should follow. I think jaan hai to jaan hai, sir salamat to pagdi 50, all that. So unless you are fitter, how do you enjoy? Otherwise, you want to follow a hectic lifestyle and schedule, and with so much of stresses around, I think it is the primary importance that you take care of yourself first, then you can take care of others. I think we all should follow that philosophy, and that only will sail us through good as well as bad times, because the stresses are equally there in bad times and good times. So if you want to go through them effectively, effortlessly, I think first is your health. And in health, it is not only your physical health, but it's your mental health, emotional health, everything you should take care. And it should be a holistic a way of looking at things. And you should not be doing only weight training or only swimming or only running or only walking, but you need to include a bit of spiritual practices like meditation, because now in fact science has proved that meditation helps you elongate the telomeres, which is DNA, so which helps in giving you a longer lifespan. So I think all these we need to keep in mind to stay in good health.
Okay, absolutely, sir. I think whatever you said made a lot of sense. I'm sure Mahesh will agree. Mahesh, do you also echo the same points that SP sir just made?
Of course, I absolutely agree with him. And there are only two things we know: one is fitness and one is real estate. So everything is allowed in prop buying except getting ill even for a day, because then if you're ill for a day, you lose at least 2-3 clients a day. So everything is allowed in prop buying except getting ill. I agree absolutely with you.
So I will get all of you guys to the main topic of the day. And I think all of us have learned and also gained a lot from what Buddha has given to us, right? aside from all the customers, all the investment that has come into this market, I think all of us have been into thick and thin of what Pune has been really, what has really happened to Pune over the past decade. So quickly to my first panelist, okay, Lalit, if you are around, I would like to put this question to you. And I think
Yeah.
we would want to hear from you because you have been working very closely with the market. You know the sentiments of the customers more than I think any one of us here. So Lalit, what do you think made Pune a really sought after destination today? What do you think has really happened in the market?
Right. Thank you, Deepak. Thank you for giving this opportunity. And I would also like to thank the Puranik management specifically for coming up with this innovative idea. Okay. So talking about Pune as an investment destination. So, Deepak, I generally I would like to divide this question in two different parts. Okay. The first part is that I always believe the economy cycle always turns after every 10 years. Okay, so what I understand is in every 10 years, there is a start, there is a peak, there is a sustenance, and there is a small fall. And then we go into the next decade with the last fall that we got. It goes in that way, is what I understand. Okay, so now talking about the first point. Okay, so first part. Okay, so just to give an idea, for example, let us take 2001 as a year. Okay, for example, that in 2001, the prices of Pune real estate was around 1500, suppose, average price. Okay, so when we hit 2005 or 6, okay, by the time we were at a peak of an average price of around 4000 for the Pune city. Okay, and by the time we entered 2008 or 9, okay, we had a burst. Okay, we had a burst in US, the recession and everything, which eventually also had an effect on Indian markets. However, that was a delayed effect, but still we had an effect. Okay, and by the time we hit 2010, okay, we were in a sustenance as well as at a downtrend, is what I believe. Okay, and there somewhere around 3500 something was a base rate that Pune was ruling across the city. Okay, then when we talk about 2011, okay, then we started a new decade wherein again we had the same style of rise which we saw till 2015. Okay, wherein we might have reached a price point of around 6500 around the city as an average. Okay, by the time we hit 2017, 18 or 19, these 3 years, demonetization, GST, all those had an effect wherein we had a sustenance period of business. And eventually by the time we end 2020, something like that, mid of 20, because of Corona and all those things, we had a downfall in the prices also. Okay, that is how it happened. So now we have started a new decade. Okay, and I personally believe that this new decade is a start of fresh investment. Okay, now where does fresh investment happens? Okay, so if we talk about Pune as a city, everyone knows that Pune was known as a educational manufacturing hub. That's what I understand, and even a defense hub for that matter. So in last 5 years or so, there is another segment that has entered in Pune, and we call it as a BFSI. So that means banking, financial services, and industries. Okay, sorry, insurance. That's what we call. And I personally believe that BFSI is a particular segment, okay, which is required a lot to boost up an economy. Okay. Now the best part is that in last 5 years, Pune got BFSI segment along with your manufacturing, your educational hub, and a defense hub also. Okay, now Pune has a perfect blend of all these sectors that we have in hand. Okay, in last 5 years, this sector has flourished a lot. Okay, and the best part is that this sector has flourished in all the zones of Pune, not only one particular central Pune or anything like that. That is the best part, and wherein you have options across all the zones in Pune, whether it's north, south, east, or west. Okay, wherein you can do an investment or anything like that. Okay, when we talk about ROI, when we talk about the investments, okay, investments is all about ROI, whether it's a rental ROI or a price appreciation. Okay, I personally feel that we have just started a decade wherein we will be seeing a fantastic boom run for at least 5 years in Pune, because we are very well placed in terms of any sector that you name it, what I have already mentioned to you. Okay. So in that way, whether it's east, west, south, or north, okay, you can look at a rental ROI just in residential hitting as good as 3.5 to 4%, or a commercial rental ROI of 7 to 8%. So when we look at this kind of ROI, you look at any city in India, whether it's Bangalore, whether it's New Delhi, or any other city, the ROI is somewhat got stagnant because because each and every city is dominated by one particular hub, more of a one particular hub in that way. If you look at Bangalore, it is more of a IT hub. Then comes your pharma. Same goes with even Hyderabad for that matter. And lastly, to add, Pune geographically is located in the center of the Indian map, I can say in that way. So connectivity wise, Pune is the best for across the India. And that's the reason I believe that Pune will be having a major bull run for at least 5 years, wherein I can see at least a 50 to 60% appreciation in prices for at least 5 years, and a rental ROI appreciation of as good as 4 and 8% in residential and commercial. That's the reason I would advise everyone that they should be investing in Pune.
But never agree more, Lalit. I think you made your points spot on, and I do, echo your points. I think we've seen the points that you made, which has translated into great sales velocity for us as well. My same question goes to Rahul. Rahul from Property Junction. I think you guys also in a place where you can see customers across Mumbai, Pune. Are your sentiments the same as well, Rahul?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Deepak. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Shailesh Puranik, and thanks Puranik's group for such a good initiative. So Mr. Lalit already mentioned so many points over there, and he was mentioned really good points over there. But I would like to added some another points over there. The weather and the environment in the Pune. The weather in the Pune, it's different from pan India. It's people. Once the people came down in the Pune and they don't leave the city, the weather is very good. And apart from that, the education, IT, the automobile, you can say Pune is the automobile hub. And if you are just talking about the current scenario, the Pune Municipal Corporation is coming up the bigger municipal corporation. And if we are just back for the COVID scenario, in this COVID scenario in Pune, property prices increased minimum 15%. If we are talking about the eastern Pune, the Kharadi region, if you are talking about the core western Pune, the Hinjewadi area, and nearby the Babgan location where your project is currently ongoing. So that is the most upcoming area in this vicinity. So Pune, there is a already Mr. Lalit was mentioned south, east, west, south, north, but in my perception, there is a east and west. That is the main scenario, the main location where people can invest, and where you can think about your whatever it's a rental aspiration. We are working in Thane also, as well as Andheri, Western Mumbai. So nowadays, if we are thinking about the rental return, Pune is the same rental return as well as Mumbai, Thane. So पहले क्या होता था, we are thinking that you have an apartment in Mumbai and you get the more rental. But now the scenario have been changed. If you are talking about the Kharadi, the rental is very good. Nowadays the rental is minimum 35,000. If you are looking for a good society, the minimum rental is 35,000. In the Hinjewadi area, and as you people already handed over the society like Puranik Avidande. So people are staying over there. And people, those I know some very number of people that those are from Mumbai also, the Navi Mumbai also, they are invested over there in your project and they are getting good rentals. But still the IT is not working. The people are working from home. But after COVID, people are realized home is very much important things where you can living very peacefully. You can work from your home. So all these points are if you are looking about all these points, the Pune the future for India. I can say Pune is we are starting Bangalore as well. We are working in Mumbai, entire Mumbai, from Navi Mumbai to Thane, Western Central. But Pune, our business, main business, 50-60% business we are doing from Pune. So the most people are settled here now. And in Pune, you can think that here is a South Indian people, there is a North Indian people. Across the India, people came to the Pune and they are, stays over here and they are just loving the city and the weather. Thank you, Deepak.
I completely agree, Rahul. I think Pune has become a true cosmo in terms of people from across the countries. The IT hubs have been created. We've seen people throbbing into the city,
Yeah.
and I think that's translated into our numbers as well. We've seen over 400, 500 walk-ins onto our site on a weekly basis. So that talks a lot about how people are wanting to invest in Pune and Pune markets. My next question is it's a very it's a question which we all have had to go through at some point of the time, and we've seen that how COVID has changed the mindset of the customer and the client. It's kind of made him, think, and at the same time, last year, for us, we didn't really know where our we going to be in the next year at the same time. So my next question is to Salesh sir. Sir, what are the changes that you think you have observed in the buying patterns of a customer? Do you think there has been a real shift in the customer mindset?
Yeah, Deepak, I think I do agree with some of the things which I've talked by my earlier panelist, and I think especially about how in every decade there are changes happening, and of course we all know the real estate is a cyclical industry by nature, and I think I agree with Lalit that we are at the start of another boom cycle, and I also agree that next 5 years we will see a very good market in Pune. But not only in Pune, I think entire real estate market is reviving and reviving in a big way, because I think last 10 years was kind of a lost decade that many people were talking about, and the next decade belongs to real estate. And that's not me, that many experts have been talking about that. If you come back to the buyer behavior or customer behavior, that also undergoes change every few years. Depending on the growth in the economy, depending on the education levels, depending on the urbanization trends, depending on which industry is doing well. For example, IT is doing well, or some of the new age industries are doing well, etc., etc. To give you simple examples, like earlier Pune, when we launched our first project almost more than 10 years ago, then people were talking about Pune is not like Mumbai, and Pune prefers bigger apartments or bigger size apartments or bigger kitchens, etc. And we were one of the first, I still remember, to launch 1 BHKs in Pune, and everybody said that 1 BHKs don't sell in Pune. And today, we all will agree that 1 BHK is one of the fastest selling product today in Pune. Even the sizes wise, pre-COVID, the sizes have been shrinking. Of course, with COVID and with work from home catching up, the sizes are again increasing. There is a need for extra space in a house. It can be a work desk, or it can be a separate work room or office room inside your house. So these are some of the changes which have been happening. Again, the way or the size of the kitchen is, or what extra you can provide in kitchen. Modular kitchen has become a norm. So I think which was not there for maybe a few years ago, and going forward we'll increasingly see that the home would be like a bring in your briefcase and or a suitcase and then start using your home. So it will no longer be that you take your possession, then you do basic amenities, then you do furniture, etc., etc. With many new age furniture shops and companies coming in, it will be either a tie-up with a developer or developer himself giving a fully furnished kind of a house. So that's how it has been changing. Even if you look at the way we have been using our air conditioners, for example, I still remember my people staying in Pune saying that we don't need air conditioners in Pune, and now you almost see everywhere you need a space for a provision for air conditioners. In Mumbai, for example, few years ago, it was only bedrooms which needed AC. Now, in fact, we have to give provisions for ACs in living room also. And then there is an increasing trend that because not only woman of the house but man of the house is also working in kitchen, and then he does not want to work in an environment which is quite hot. So then now the trend is that okay, we need to keep a provision for AC in the kitchen also. So as the nation evolves, as the economy prospers, as our standard of living changes, accordingly our buyer expectation or customer expectations change, buyer behavior changes. One more example, how we buy, for example, earlier all the holidays were the time when you will get maximum number of customers, like Diwali hai, or any other kind of holidays, or May hai. But abhi chuttiyon mein everybody is going out. So then you don't see that much of traction in customers coming and buying during Diwali, for example, which was a very common phenomenon earlier also. So I think as per the trends, the expectations of a customer, a consumer behavior, consumer psyche, and then the way he transacts business, it keeps on changing and it will keep on evolving. And it's a reflection of the overall growth in the economy of that nation also.
You're so right, sir. I always remember you always use this word called forecasting, which is so important. I understand this today now, that how much it is important to sit down and think what the customer may want in future, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, because the things are changing. You're right. I mean, one BHK was never a sought after inventory in a Pune market. And we saw that happening, recently. Jay, we would like to hear you here because, from the loan perspective, from the housing loan perspective, what do you think has changed now post-COVID?
First of all, Deepak, thanks. I think thanks for this platform, and thanks Purani team for getting me here. And I think I can hear and get a lot of information on the real estate part. Though I was earlier a part of real estate only, other side of the table. Now I'm a third side of the table, I can say. So first with JLL, then with Kolte Patil, and now with Bajaj from last 7 years. So I think as mentioned by Shailesh, I think he has covered most of the thing on that. Yes, of course, that buying pattern has been changed. And this pattern has been changed in three, I'll say wave 1, wave 2, and now people are talking about wave 3 also. I think initially when things have started, like we were starting discussion about the COVID and all. So as a banking sector, we were actually not sure how, what kind of the damage this is going to make. So my policies, my probably sourcing of customers were pretty easy, and the risk side was very, I think I'll say that was not very tightened. But the moment we saw that first wave hitting so hard, people started losing their job, companies started not paying the salaries for a long time. There were issues in terms of collection as well. So I think then we thought, let's tighten on the policy, that especially on the risk side, because there were customers where they were doing the jobs, they were not getting the salary, they were not sure about their probably job also, whether after 6 months this company will allow to work or not. So there were a lot of if and but in terms of policy. So we actually revived, not almost, but there were a lot of risk criteria where we change, at least in the wave 1 and wave 2. And now I think, but the good part is that thanks to, I think, the Maharashtra government, especially while they came up with the stamp duty cut, which was actually a revival for the real estate from that time. And I think generally what I have seen, the Indian customer, either you say there is a cut down of petrol price by 20 paisa, there will be a kilometer line on the petrol pump wasting 2-3 hours to get that 20 paisa for 1 liter. So I think that's how it worked in stamp duty. And there were some, like I manage Bombay, Pune both. So I have seen like Bombay also inventory moving very fast. And there were a lot of builder category A also, elite also, where there were a lot of inventory left pre-COVID. And after this stamp duty cut, there was hardly any inventory left. So yes, I think both ways we have seen the flip side of the coin. Wave 1 was more toward the surety on the market, whether this real estate is going to on the same level or not. But yes, after this cut down on the stamp duty, there were a lot of changes, and we saw across all the market, either you go to Pune, Bombay, across all builders, you name it, and they have sold their inventory. They were sold out almost all. Then I think, yes, then we realize, yes, this is something where home buying is always a primary, not a secondary part of the any as a customer. So we revived on the policy as well, and there were a lot of good schemes which not only Bajaj, HDFC, ICICI, all the financial players started giving this scheme, because generally what happened in this COVID time, where customer was not sure about his income and probably a future. So we cut down on the OCR part, which actually helped to all the builders. So initially, if someone was paying a 5% plus stamp duty for a booking, then they started taking 2%, 3%, and then your booking started. This actually amazingly boost to all the customer as well as a builder, which probably I'll say was an amazing change in terms of the booking numbers. And that gives a confidence to developer as well as bankers as well. So I think, yes, this pre-COVID and post-COVID, there is a huge difference, but this I'll divide into a two-part where phase 1 was different, phase 2 is different, and now we are talking about wave 3. I think it's just a talk. I don't think it's going to affect much, but looking to the market, looking to the preparation, maybe it's a festive season. I can see across all the developer either in Pune, Bombay, they have a huge plan of launches and all. So I can see there's a good demand coming up, and thanks to banking sector as well, because the kind of ROI we are running as of now, that's amazingly one of the, you can say, a best time which is going on. So from we started like pre-COVID was 7, and now we are at 6.5, 6.6, 6.70. So I think for a customer also it's a lifetime opportunity, I'll say, where we have a ROI of 6.5, 6.60, and then to these days there's a repo rate as well, which like a lot of financial we're talking about. So this give actually a confidence to customer as well, and that can 100% I can see a positive part in terms of the buying pattern.
So you're right, Jay. I think at Puranik, and the first time ever that our developers launching 4 projects in 4 different locations, which has never happened. For that matter, we've seen the stock market celebrate the market moves. We've seen how the books of the developers have been stronger in terms of valuations. So
That's
you're right.
right.
I think there is a clear momentum in the positive direction, and I think you're just getting there. And this is the start of it. Vaibhav, if you are there, and if I could ask you the same question, what is your feeling? Because I think you are one of those people who made a lot of difference in the market. And you've seen the recent round across the Pune West. What's your feeling?
Yeah, it's thanks a lot, Deepak and Puranik, for giving us this opportunity to speak about the real estate, wherein we all are involved quite for a long time. The thing is, like, see, Shailesh sir also covered lot many things. Even Jay, he covered the banking thing. But just to add on to it, what I feel is like wherein the work from home culture came into picture, and husband and wife both are working, want to work from home now, and of course the school from home came into picture, and wherein that extra space, like people always wanted to go for a 2 BHK or a 3 BHK, but from 2 BHK people they went for a 2.5 BHK, or from 3 BHK they always aspire to go for a 3.5 BHK to get that particular additional room as an office space. Again, one thing what we you can check, actually we can see is there is always, even from the developer side, there are certain developers who again came into picture with the additional facility in the project of providing the workspace inside the project as one of the amenities. So that is one change which we saw very recently. And for that extra space, people like who were, even the clients who were going for, or the home buyers who were going for looking for larger spaces, yes, the simplexes or duplexes came into picture. So instead of going for a 4 BHK apartment, which costs more than 2.5 crore, people can easily go for a Jodi apartment, wherein they can join 2 adjoining 2 BHKs as a simplex, or they can go for a 2 BHKs duplex, and wherein they can get a larger area within their budget. So when we talk about the pricing, it's like 1.25 CR they are getting a simplex apartment, which suffice their requirement. Even to add to this, people moreover have started going into the slightly suburbs, like people who are not ready to live areas, like the city areas of Pune or Kothur or Aund. Now they wanted to go to Bavdhan or Baner, these areas, because the thing is, again, the requirement, developers who are satisfying their requirement, people are going for the new launches. So they are ready to wait for 3 years, because they are getting two things. One thing is they are getting larger areas, larger carpet areas, and second thing, they are getting time, to arrange their finances, to arrange their funds. Wherein, when we are talking about banks like Bajaj Finance was absolutely they are doing quite a fantastic job by going for 1% or 2%. Wherein people, they can just pay 50,000 rupees or 60,000 rupees as a booking amount, stamp duty registration, and they can book a house worth 60-70 lakh rupees. So this was quite a good change. So overall market dynamics, it changed for the customer, for the developer, and for the channel partners.
I agree, Vaibhav. I think you've shown that whatever you said in the numbers that you have been achieving in the last few months, and also congratulations towards that achievement. So I know there is a lot of potential left with you guys, to perform even better from here on. My next question is a very small question and probably a very typical question to be asked. So Mahesh, I'm throwing this question at you. What do you think that have potential and that you think can grow even more further from here on?
Yeah, hi Deepak.
Hi.
First of all, before coming to my answer of my question, let me congratulate Deepak and Shailesh sir, Praful, and complete team of Puranics for giving us such a fantastic platform to come and speak with you guys. Second part, let me congratulate Puranics as a group on being the #1 developer in the month of September to March. They were marked as #1 developer to sell the highest units in Pune. So I have a report which says me all the figures, shows me all the figures. So congratulations, guys, and more thing to appreciate.
Please share that report with us, Mahesh ji.
We'll definitely do it. Praful
Yes,
already has it. Praful already has it.
Sure.
I'll do it again, sir. So congratulations once again. I do appreciate, because then you guys were able to do it only with the 2 projects. So on behalf of complete channel partner fraternity, congratulations to complete Puranics team. And just imagine, like in 2 projects, if you guys are doing such a fantastic job, if this number grows to 10 projects, probably you will be the in first 5 developers in the country. So I would request Shailesh sir to come with more projects and be topmost developers of the country.
Yes. Thank you so much.
So Deepak, coming back to my question, the role of a channel partner, the changed role of channel partner. So when we started our career 10 years back, Prop Buying as a company, the days were very difficult for the channel partners, because then they were very the developers were very stringent. They didn't wanted to work with channel partners. When we used to approach these developers, they always used to ask that, are you EAP registered? If not, then you'll have to work on 1% or like that things. So we were not welcome with everyone. So then we thought, let's be a part of a channelized team, and so we approached EAP as a platform. We were the member of them. Going ahead, we again formed a new association. But now the things are really changed. So now in last 3 years, I'm seeing many changes in the approach of the developers. So in last 3 years, we have started forming annual EOPs with these developers. So we Prop Buying as a company, like we have signed annual operating plans with all these 15 developers of Pune. We have international EOPs signed with them for different countries as well, because then we travel like before COVID, 2 years back, in a single year, we traveled almost 12 different countries and had a fantastic business from these countries. So now even developers have understood this, that if they're getting good amount of business from these countries which haven't explored. Like for example, in 2018, we had been to Qatar, and Qatar was the country which was unexplored. And almost 8 years back, Naik Navre was the developer who had been to Qatar. And after 2011, there was not a single developer who visited that country. So we as a company went there. We were there for almost 8 days, explored Qatar as a thing, and got a fantastic business from there. And since then, we keep getting business from these countries. So with these few top developers, we have international EOPs signed with them for UAE. Like Abu Dhabi is one of the, like as compared to Dubai, I'll say Abu Dhabi is one of the country which has maximum potential. So even you guys can have an international team which can work hand in hand with channel partners like us, and we can do miracles in these countries, guys. Again, one of the changes what I see in this is initially developer used to feel that giving the projects on mandates was again one of the very not a very good thing for the developer. But now last 3 years, the developers have changed that approach. Now, developer, the main expertise of the developer is only to concept, but then they are coming out and joining hands with us people for the mandates as well. So they take the inputs of us in again planning the project, because then we are the people who are actually on the field, and we cover almost complete Pune, like east, west, north, south. We are working on almost 250 projects in Pune now. So we know the pulse of the market. We know what exactly client wants. We know the budget, what exactly they are looking at. So this is the input. Like few of the developers, they do the survey for almost 1 year when they plan any of the projects. So this helps. Like Puranik also, I would really appreciate you guys. The product you have is, see, it's not a miracle. Like the product, what Puranik sells in no time is only because you guys have best of the products. So if you plan on your product better, there is no need to sell it separately. So this is what I feel. And channel partner, of course, like with your help, they are doing more better, and we definitely intend to do more better in coming future.
I totally agree, Mahesh. I think we are one of those very few companies who started a complete program for channel partners, not as an external body. We wanted them to be a part of us while we were working. In this new scheme of things, we have partners associate us at strategic level on our drawing boards. So I think we are changing our ways also. And moving forward, we would want to change many more things. The new initiative that the company has taken is to partner you guys and try and have mutual growth together. So my question, in fact, the same question is you, sir. Is there a reason that we felt that our prominency in the western part of Pune should be more? And what do you think about the micro markets and the growth potential, sir? So my question is to Shailesh Puranik, sir.
Yeah. So I think Pune as a market, in fact, entire PMR as a market has many different micro markets, and all these micro markets are performing independent of each other. And of course, if PMR is doing well, each micro market also is doing well. But there are certain pockets which have been doing well. For example, Western Pune, where we operate in. But having said that, I think Eastern Pune or the belt which is in Kharadi and the other area, or the PCMC belt, for example, etc. So at least 5 to 6 micro markets in Pune are performing well, and I think there is a lot of potential there. I do appreciate what Mahesh is talking about, and then we have our eyes set on expanding in other parts of Pune as well. And then we will probably be looking at expanding to other parts of Pune which fit into our overall scheme of things. So our focus has been on mid-income affordable play, and in a play where you have maximum volumes, and whatever areas will have that kind of demand, we will be expanding to that. So in fact, our focus has been on only 2 markets, which is MMR and PMR, and in that 2 markets also, areas like what we operate in Western Pune is something like 3-4 million rupees to 8 million rupees, and similarly other parts of Pune also. So we don't intend to go into the parts of Pune which are a higher income or a premium segment, but we want to expand to other parts of Pune which has a mid-income segment or average price of 5 to 6 million or 7 million rupees. And keeping that in mind, we have been on the lookout for the right kind of expansion in the entire PMR.
Fantastic. I think that is a message to all of us here sitting here. In fact, my next question, Mahesh has already touched upon a bit of it. Goes to actually Vaibhav now. So Vaibhav, what do you think is going to be the role of a channel partner, especially post-COVID? I remember there was a time where we were looking at developers saying that we may not go through channel as much. Some people said channel is going to be the future. Post-COVID, what do you think has happened? Do you think it's just the tables have been turned around the other way?
See, as I said earlier, Deepak, is the market dynamics have changed. Like earlier, like since last 1.5 years during the COVID situation, where the home buyers were a bit reluctant to buy homes, to go ahead with investments and all. So this actually changed a lot. So when we see like even for the developers and for channel partners also proactively started participating in the new launches, because that was the demand of the time. And moreover, for the same thing, like certain developers, even Puranik, for example, came up with a fantastic spontaneity in the market. Like when we talk about whether it might be related, spontaneity related to the token system, the bookings, the agreements, and of course the channel partners payments. So this really motivates us as a channel partner as well. So to work more, to have more proper focus on doing proper business, getting more and more right customers, approaching right customers, and giving them the right projects. Even when we talk about the bonding between the developers and channel partners, yes, I totally appreciate that developers have created that win-win situation for all of us actually. And just one last line, like even for Jai, who is working with Bajaj. So Bajaj has given that support of providing those particular, the schemes. But again, just when we have to, go ahead with the NRI markets or business people, so that additional support is required. So that's just a suggestion for Jai.
Sure. Above, I'm sure I'm writing down all the points. So we'll person will speak on this.
So Vaibhav has just not wanted to miss on the opportunity on directly giving the point, which he has done. So, Lalit ji, I'm coming back to you, and I think this question is very relevant to you because I think you work in this segment. So I want to understand from you, integrated townships, mid-segment, mid-luxury segment, what do you think is the future now? I mean, where do you think the customers are wanting to go?
Right. So Deepak, going back to my first conversation. So as I said, I believe that next 5 years we are looking at a boom market now. Okay. So when we say boom market, so technically we are saying that the per capita income of a salaried class will be increasing, which was technically stagnant from last 3 years. Okay, that will be increasing now. For sure, it will be increasing. In fact, I am that much confident that it should cross the inflation level in terms of percentage. Okay, so when we look at these kind of numbers as a growth for an individual in terms of per capita income, then I would divide the buying capacity into 3 segments now. Below 80 lakh to 2 crore, and above 2 crore. Okay, so if we talk about these 3 different categories now, I will divide the percentage in this way. Below 80 lakh, it's 30%. 80 to 2 CR, it's 50%. I may sound crazy, but still it's 50% is what I believe. And above 2 crore is 20% now. Okay, so my personal view says that mid segment, rather than an integrated township, mid segment, for me, Pune, mid segment means 80 to 1.2 CR, 80 to 2 CR, 80 lakh to 2 CR is what I believe is a mid segment now. And I believe that next 5 years, you will be seeing a big demand in this particular ticket size. So mid size is something I am looking at as a big investment coming in. Yes, premium is also going to have a very big say now. Obviously, I mean, developers are reluctant to do anything above 5 CR, but still 2 to 5 CR will be looking at a very big jump in terms of sales. Yes, below 80 lakh also 30% is what I'm looking at. So mid segment is my top pick that I look at. Also to add 1 or 2 points here, Deepak, I will be taking only 1 minute more of yours. The first point that we were discussing, last 5 years, from last 5 years, the real estate market has also matured a lot. We need to understand this one thing. It's not just the market that used to be in 2010, 11, launch kar diya, bik gaya, kuch bhi le liya, khadda khoda nahi, malum pada nahi, kya hua, vagere, vagere. Okay, the market has matured a lot. That is something wherein the developer has matured, the buyers has also matured. Both the things. And one more point to add, the infrastructure that we see currently across Pune has done extremely well. That is one thing which adds to your demand also as an investment. Okay, so these 2 things have doing very good, and that's how I mean mid segment will be doing best is what I understand. Yes.
Great. Rahul, what about you? Do you feel the same? What Lalit mentioned, certain very important critical points.
Yeah.
How about you? How
Yeah.
are you seeing it from your side?
Very well said, Mr. Lalit. So basically, Pune means a bigger home. So when Mumbai people came here to invest, or we have a lot of Mumbai investors over here. So Pune means bigger home with balcony. And if you are talking about Mumbai scenario, there is no balcony. People are the flower beds is balcony counting over there. So Pune mid segment, as Mr. Lalit said, it's starting from minimum 80 lakhs. So if you are looking for a apartment 850 square foot, 750 square foot carpet, in that case, we can consider as a mid segment. And micro means there's a township concept. If you are thinking about 630 carpet and 700 carpet, if you are thinking about, but if you are talking about the mid market, as Mr. said, it started from 80 lakh. But the micro, in my perceptions over there, the micro market people is from 80 to starts over there to 80 to 1.5 crores. So if you are talking about the 2 BHK or the 3 BHK. So if you are talking about 3 BHK in Pune market, there is a 1200 carpet, 1250 carpet. It's standardized nowadays because there is a different crowd in Pune. It's a not purely IT. Pune is a mix up of IT and as well as banking hub. As I said earlier, if you are talking about the Eastern market, Kharadi, it's a back office and banking hub. You can think about, and the future aspects. If you are talking about the future aspect, we are just waiting to BKC. If you're talking about the Eastern Pune in Kharadi market, now Kharadi is in 16 lakh square foot, number one commercials. So in the 5 years coming, if you are talking about coming 5 years, so we are the biggest infrastructure from more better than the BKC. So there is a mix-up crowd. Those people are working with the banking. Those are people who are working with the IT. If you are thinking about Ranjangaon over there, it's a automobile hubs. It's an engineering hub. So mix-up crowd is here. So we have a scope in coming in 5 coming years. The micro market and the if you are talking about the luxury, there is a very few competition in the luxury in Pune. So luxury market came up with very upcoming in 5 years. Now the luxury market is grown up to the Pirangut. So if you are talking about the western side, so Pirangut, there is a very high-end product over there, and people really buying over there because there is a very few competition over there in Pune. When people are thinking about the luxury, when people are thinking about the quality of house, when people are thinking about the construction quality, what you are providing, and if people can think as Puranik as a brand, as you people are working in Mumbai as well as Thane market, then you have a very much experience over there in the market. So if we can think about the luxury as well as the mid segment is always booming. And coming 5 years, there is a very huge, largest future over there. If you are talking Eastern and Western Pune, minimum a year expecting people and company are expecting minimum 15 to 20,000 people that came from across India. If you are thinking about talking about pan India, if you are talking about they are coming from the globe also. So different people are shifting from London as well as. So the companies are growing. So the luxury and mid market both are the upcoming in Pune area as well as Eastern Western Pune. Thank you, Deepak.
Jay, what about you? What's your data talking about? What kind of files are you receiving? Are the customers who are coming to you are also from the mid segment, or are you getting inquiries from the customers who are coming with higher budget? Just throw some light on the kind of files that you are receiving.
Deepak, I think I have a little different view than what Lalitji and Rahul just mentioned in terms of the, yes, of course, Pune is a mid segment market where, but my ticket size will be little different than what they mentioned. They mentioned between 80 to 1.2, but like monthly, we do log in of around 2,500 file where my average ticket size is between 45 to 85 lakhs. So if you'll ask me, this is what I feel personally is a market where we see the maximum sale wise in Pune. If we have to talk about either it's the eastern part of the Pune or the western part of the Pune, either it's a part of township or it's a standalone building. I have seen suddenly what is happening new to the market in real estate. I think when if I have to talk 7-8 years back, people used to come on the site and say कि यार आपका वो plan मुझे जमा नहीं इसलिए मैं खरीद नहीं रहा हूँ. Maybe room sizes, living, or vastu and all. But for a change, what is happening on site these days, what they're saying, आपका package क्या है? So if it's fitting into a package, it's a deal to me. There is no more vastu, there is no more room size. Yes, it's a discussion, but it's not a decision making. We do discuss this, and I think the best example, if you will see, at least in Pune, Bombay, I have seen a lot of good builders changing their plan from luxury to these sizes, which varies between 45 to 80 lakh or 90 lakhs. Initially, the plan was something else to build something a luxury which start from 1.2, which goes to 1.75. But we have seen a lead builder also facing problem in getting that volume. Say it's not that they're not selling it, but the volume is pretty less comparing to what you have in these segments. And fortunately, if you will see now, the new thing which is I can see slowly gearing up, that's a 1 BHK studio, which I think that's the next market which you will see suddenly across all the builder. One building will come off standalone, talking about studio, fully furnished, and it has a very good demand. Amazingly demand in last 2-3 months. I have seen good players launching this 1 BHK studio with a area of maybe 450, varies between 450 to 625, and they have done pretty good. Like maybe in a month's time they have sold 300-500 units, or maybe lesser than what I'm saying as of now. Yes, that mid segment market is, of course, Pune was always known for it is known as a pension paradise. So still people believe that luxury will never fall in Pune, and we see that's a good building, holding projects are ready, but the quantum of sale are pretty less. Even though this stamp duty part, if you will see, have changed a little bit on the luxury part in Bombay and Pune for sure. If you'll go to any builder and say ki aapka maximum sale has happened when, so they'll claim between December to March, or maybe that stamp duty part. Otherwise, it's very stagnant, and you will find a maximum discounting also in that kind of the segment. Coming to the mid segment, it's a fast moving, you have buyer, and even the psyche of the customer, because even if as a buyer, if I buy, I have a two concern. If I'm not staying, it's an investment, whether I'll be able to resell or I'll be able to rent it out or not. Smaller apartment has a both the I think on a faster part. It's like either if you have to sell it or rent it out. And these days 1 BHK in Wagholi or Hinjewadi is getting the like 10, 11,000, 12,000 rupees every month, which is a decent amount. Investment is what, 28, 29, 30 lakh on a higher side, getting these kind of return, which is fair. And even in good location, you will get around 13 to 14K. So difference is not much in 2 BHK and 1 BHK on the rental part if you see the good location. So I feel personally, yes, that mid segment is having a boom, but the ticket size I have a little different than what other panelists have mentioned.
So, Jay, my last question, in fact, goes to you, and I think that's how we want to end it. In fact, this is a question mainly from a consumer point of view. We all know post-COVID there was strictening of norms of lending, right? And banks were a little hesitant. How about now? Do you think that's opened up? They're more open to another lending norms, or how the status that you see right now currently?
I think thanks to Mr. Parekh, I think I think in month of June or July, he was in front of media and he said that housing is going to be one of the booming part. And I think from that particular month, I think scenario has been changed a lot. I think you will see suddenly a bank like Kotak and even player whom we have not heard, they've suddenly started pitching 6.5, 6.6 ROIs and in the market, where because see, I see personally after this, at least in Maharashtra, I can say for sure, we have as a policy, we are going pretty like comparing to first wave and second wave, which was in between March to June, we were a little tight. But now we are coming up with a lot of scheme. We have recently launched 12 EMI holiday, which is a replacement of a subvention, because subvention is no more in the market. So last month, we have launched something called 12 Holiday, which is as good as a subvention part, where the customer is not bearing anything, neither the developer is. And this is something which is going in the market. We are probably will be launching this scheme with maybe 3-4 builders in Pune and Bombay, which gives a zero EMI to customer from booking to from agreement to at least next 12 months. So we are talking pay this Diwali, book this Diwali and pay next Diwali type. This kind of the tagline which what we are using it. And we before launching this scheme, we actually did calling. This I'm talking about the Bajaj Housing Finance to our customer base of maybe you can say 10-15,000 people, and just to understand what actually they want. From a financial point of view, if they have to finalize apartment, they are looking for a scheme, they are looking for Morad, they are looking for what kind of the support they want. See, what we understood after this calling, customer eligibility wise, they are fitting. There is no problem in terms of the profiling. But in this COVID time, they don't want to go all out on their fund part. They want to hold it, they want to pay less, and probably they want to defer their payment. What was happening maybe 5-7 years back when I was in Kolte Patil, we used to take 20% of the customer as a down payment, and then we used to give 60 days for the registration time. Now that 20% has come to 2%. Customer looking for a 1%, 2%, 3% scheme where he says, initially I'll pay 1% and stamp duty and rest can be deferred. You want to take 10%, take, but initial payment, let it be 1%. So these kind of the scheme probably excite customer, and moving forward, there will be a lot of aggressive scheme post, you can say this Shraddh time. And because launches are coming up, we are also in discussion with a few of the projects where we are giving this 12 EMI, as I mentioned, and then deferred scheme, which talks about 1%, 2%. So I see personally on the policy part, if you ask me, we are now pretty easy pre-COVID time, I'll say. We are no more, there's a difference between pre-COVID and post-COVID policy. So we are again back to track, and business-wise also we are almost same. We are much better than what we were doing in pre-COVID.
I completely agree. I think we see that momentum already. Before we actually end the webinar, I think I have to thank each one of you. And before I give the last word to SP sir to close it, I thought it is an opportunity to thank each one of you who lended your opinions, valuable opinions, in fact. And that's the whole agenda of the program, right? If you want to hear the people on the ground, you have to listen to their opinions, because I think that's what matters. In fact, the Abrix today in future will also intend to bring a lot of people on the platform. We are going to be covering lives of our associates, partners, people who are there in the reality field. So it's just not going to be serious discussion. It's also going to be a lot of fun coverage of how we work in the market, how and what's the new trend. So I think you can look forward to a lot of things in future. So like I said, today's session has been a special one. This is our first episode, and we continue to do much more, going ahead. Sir, I leave the last word to you. So before we close, anything that you would like to say?
No, I must thank all the people who have joined for today's first program, maiden program. Deepak, you conducted really well, and I think nice to hear opinion from different stakeholders, be it a financial institution or our dear channel partners. So I think it's the time of collaboration, and the way we are doing business and transactions are happening. It's changing. It's becoming like FMCG, because we are in a highly commoditized business. So it's like everybody's selling similar kind of 1 BHKs and 2 BHKs and all. And I think when we are into such a scenario, it becomes very, very important that we forge, maintain, and cultivate the partnerships. A developer has the product to sell, and it's the outreach that the channel partners has, and then it's very important that a financial institution comes in and supports by way of right kind of financial product. So it is going to be a partnership, and we all understand that. And let us continue this partnership so that we all do good business and ultimately help our customer to solve his issues. Thank you, Deepak. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Look forward to
Thank you,
seeing
Deepak. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Deepak.
Thank you.
Thank you.